The story begins 10 years in the past, when Wizard King Conrad is being restrained by the magic knights of the kingdom. Julius, who leads the knights, opposes Conrad's actions and urges him to surrender. However, Conrad refuses. Using his key magic, he opens countless magical doors, unleashing a powerful force that breaks him free. A knight named Miriana charges at him, but he easily knocks her away, revealing that he wields the powerful imperial sword. An intense battle breaks out. Conrad declares his desire to create a new world where people respect one another and can live happily together. He activates the sword's power, splitting the arena in two and causing a massive explosion. The knights are overwhelmed, but Julius suddenly reappears behind Conrad, using his chrono magic to catch him. Conrad warns that if he is sealed, the imperial sword will be lost too. Julius accepts this risk as the next Wizard King and seals Conrad away. Even in his final moments, Conrad refuses to give up on his ideals. 10 years later, the kingdom is at peace, and a grand tournament is being held to determine the strongest magic knight. All 9 magic squads participate. The first contestant is Yuno, the vice captain of the Golden Dawn. His opponent enters the arena wearing a mask, sparking curiosity among the crowd. The battle begins, and Yuno attacks with wind magic, but his opponent slices through it with a sword. Yuno realizes his masked opponent is actually his friend Asta. Suddenly, Conrad reappears with 3 hooded figures. They reveal themselves and trap the arena in a magic barrier. Conrad announces that he will complete what he started. Using his sword, he unleashes beams of light that drain the magic power of everyone inside the arena. He approaches Julius, who now appears much weaker, his power mostly lost from a fierce past battle. It's revealed that Conrad's seal had weakened, allowing him to escape. As Conrad's companion summons an army of magic soldiers into the crowd, an old man is nearly crushed, but Asta saves him just in time. Asta battles the soldiers with his anti-magic swords. Though everyone else's magic is being drained, Asta is unaffected due to his lack of magic. The soldiers swarm him, but he blasts them away. Conrad's 3 companions step forward. Julius recognizes them as former Wizard Kings, who were stripped of their titles for being too extreme. Conrad revived them with his sword's power, and they now support his vision. Jester attacks Asta, but Asta cuts through the barrier with ease, impressing them with his anti-magic abilities. Meanwhile, Conrad is attacked by a knight named Marx, but he uses his sword to manipulate Marx's grimoire and defeats him easily. As Asta and Yuno struggle against the revived Wizard Kings, Asta's captain, Yami, suddenly appears and launches a flurry of slashes. Other squad captains join the fight, and with the help of Finral's spatial magic, Yami rescues Julius. Yami asks Julius what they should do. Julius instructs him to retrieve a special magic tool from the research branch. Yami refuses to leave Julius's side, so instead, they decide to send Asta to retrieve it. As the group is suddenly attacked by Edward's ice magic, Yami holds off the enemy to buy time for Asta, Finral, and Noel to escape. The magic knights try to fight back, but Conrad tells them it's pointless. Once he activates his sword, the entire kingdom will be destroyed. Yami questions how the sword can do such a thing, and Julius explains that the sword can release all the magic it has absorbed at once. This is the same power Conrad used to drain the arena. Conrad then stabs his sword into the ground, revealing that 10 years ago he had secretly modified the arena, turning it into a weapon, a flying fortress. Jester reinforces it with a massive barrier, cutting off any means of escape. Meanwhile, Asta's group arrives at the research lab where they meet a woman named Millie, who leads them to Nero. Noel suspects Nero knows more about Conrad. As they descend in an elevator, Nero explains that Conrad was the 27th Wizard King. He had a great reputation and was widely respected, until one day he suddenly turned against the kingdom. Using the imperial sword, a relic of the first king, he tried to destroy the kingdom but was stopped and sealed by Julius and the other knights. They ask what kind of magic he uses, and Nero reveals that Conrad's key magic allows him to open doors that can generate any kind of magic. He can even steal others' magic and use it himself. Eventually, they arrive at a highly secured vault where the kingdom's most valuable magic tools are stored. Finral asks about the tool they came for, and Nero reveals it's a prototype sheath designed to control the imperial sword's power. But when they go to retrieve it, they find Conrad already there. He destroys the sheath and throws Nero's assistant Sally at her. Asta tries to attack, but Conrad appears behind them and easily defeats the 3 of them. Asta is restrained and encased in stone. Nero wonders how Conrad found their location, and he reveals he stole Marx's memory magic, allowing him to read minds. This gave him knowledge of all their plans. He also tells them the kingdom has already been taken over by his summoned soldiers, and all the captains who fought at the arena have been defeated. Noelle attempts to strike him with her sea dragon magic, but he restrains her and, impressed by her power, absorbs her grimoire using his key magic. Asta breaks free, but Conrad now has access to Noelle's powerful magic. Asta survives by transforming into his demonic form. He pursues Conrad, determined to recover Noelle's magic. Conrad tries to stop him by burying him under a mass of pipes and unleashing magical leeches to drain him, but Asta cuts through them with his anti-magic sword. Conrad, intrigued by Asta's resilience, says he wants to talk. He explains that the Imperial Sword shares similar power with his key magic. It was created by the first Wizard King to store the magic and wisdom of all future Wizard Kings, capable of unleashing that power all at once. Conrad intends to combine this magic with every ounce of stolen magic to create a catastrophic fusion spell, which he will fire into a fault line in the earth to wipe out the entire continent. However, the sword can also store the souls of the dead, and he plans to resurrect only the people he considers valuable. Conrad, having lost his memories, sees himself as similar to Asta, once hated for his magic. He believes the world is corrupted and must be destroyed and rebuilt into a place where everyone is respected and happy. Asta agrees with the dream but rejects Conrad's methods, saying a true wizard king protects people. They resume their battle, with Asta struggling against Conrad's overwhelming power. Conrad bombards him with countless magical attacks, and Asta barely survives. Conrad tells him to give up, claiming his fusion spell will be complete by dawn. But Asta replies that never giving up is his magic. Surprised by Asta's determination, Conrad watches as Asta is suddenly teleported away. Finral, drained of magic, says he can't keep going. As Conrad approaches, Yuno appears to help. They're joined by Millie, Sally, and Nero, who tries to seal Conrad with her magic, but he easily breaks free, and her prison can't hold him. The group retreats quickly. Later, Noelle wakes up in an emergency shelter, where Yuno explains that Yami managed to cut a hole in the arena's barrier, allowing some to escape. Asta wakes up and informs them that Conrad plans to carry out his plan at dawn. The remaining knights question whether they stand a chance against a former Wizard King, but Asta gives an impassioned speech that lifts their spirits and unites them to fight back. Suddenly, an explosion shakes the area, and Miriana appears, joined by other squad captains and knights who were away during the initial attack. Scouts are keeping an eye on the flying fortress and confirm that Yami and 2 other captains are still alive. They wonder why they're being kept alive, and Nero explains it's because the Imperial Sword is slowly draining their magic to power Conrad's forces. The group holds a meeting to plan their next move. They conclude that the only way to stop Conrad is by neutralizing the Imperial Sword. They launch an assault on the Black Bull Squad's base, defeating the enemy soldiers surrounding it. Asta shatters the barrier protecting the base, and the team rushes in to explain the situation to Henry. Henry begins absorbing magic from the group, and they're all fed magical food to quickly restore their strength. With the power he collects, Henry transforms their base into a massive flying airship. As they take off, they're confronted by a towering wall of magical soldiers. Asta wonders how they'll get past it, but one of the captains uses World Tree magic to open a path, letting the ship through. As they approach the flying fortress, they encounter a powerful barrier. Jester appears atop a magical structure and fires a devastating beam at them. The Magic Knights retaliate by combining their magic into cannon blasts, and a knight named Adlai uses mirror magic to reflect attacks from all angles. They manage to destroy Jester's structure and break through. Just then, the other 2 revived Wizard Kings appear, but Finral uses his teleportation magic to get the ship past them. As they near the barrier surrounding the fortress, Asta enlarges his sword, preparing to break it. However, Princessia and Edward land on the ship. The knights had prepared for this. Nero seals both of them with her magic, and Finral teleports them away. Asta begins attacking the barrier, but Jester suddenly appears and kicks Asta's sword, causing the ship to fall. Miriana arrives from below, lifting the ship back into the air. Asta combines his power with Yuno, and Henry propels the ship at full speed. Despite Jester's attempt to stop them with a barrier, they smash through it, and even a second barrier as well. Asta and Yuno break through, but the barrier quickly regenerates behind them, leaving the rest behind. Miriana tells them it's up to the 2 of them to stop Conrad, They spot Conrad in the distance, but Jester attacks with a giant barrier axe. Yuno tells Asta to go on ahead while he takes on Jester. He activates his spirit dive transformation, merging with his spirit familiar. Outside the barrier, the magic knights prepare to battle Edward, while Miriana confronts Princezia alone. Princezia mocks her for coming solo, but Miriana is confident. She knows Princezia has never lost a fight, and that excites her. Princezia summons soldiers, but Miriana destroys them instantly. Yuno battles Jester but gets overwhelmed. Jester tells him he can't win because within the fortress's barrier, his magic is constantly replenished. But Yuno insists he isn't alone. Yami suddenly appears, and Jester realizes earlier attacks weren't random. They were meant to free the other captains. 2 more captains join the fight. Jester still believes he has the upper hand, thinking they're too weak from having their magic drained. Meanwhile, the Black Bull Squad is fighting Edward. They combine their magic, but it's ineffective. Edward activates his mana zone, creating a freezing field that paralyzes everyone. He summons a massive ice monster, but the squad refuses to surrender. They manage to destroy the monster's arm. When the monster fires a powerful blast, Adlai reflects it back, destroying it. However, Edward creates an even larger ice beast that freezes everything in its path. Meanwhile, Miriana struggles against Princezia, who keeps switching places with her soldiers. Princezia stabs her from behind, but Miriana grabs the blade and activates her mana zone. She unleashes a huge field of fire and causes a massive explosion. Princezia survives and praises Miriana for being the first to push her this far. She begins fighting seriously, beating Miriana down but acknowledging her strength. As she walks away, Miriana stands back up, refusing to quit. Fueled by thoughts of her comrades, she charges with her body engulfed in flames. They exchange powerful blows, and Miriana smashes Princezia deep underground. Surprised to lose in a fistfight, Princezia rises and summons a massive army of magical soldiers, fusing them together for her ultimate move. Back with Yuno, he and the captains continue their battle with Jester. They buy time while Yuno gathers his energy. Though the captains are knocked back, Yuno launches a powerful strike at Jester. Jester sets up a barrier, thinking it will stop the attack, but it begins to crack under Yuno's force. Jester, realizing he's in danger, activates his trump card. Meanwhile, Asta confronts Conrad, who claims it's too late. Conrad plunges the Imperial sword into the ground, releasing its full power into the mana vein beneath the kingdom. The ground splits apart as magical devastation spreads. Conrad tells Asta to give up, but Asta refuses, shouting that never giving up is his magic. They both declare their resolve, engaging in an intense battle. Asta tries to get close, but Conrad overwhelms him with non-stop attacks. He tries to persuade Asta to join him, insisting that Asta's dream of becoming Wizard King is impossible. He believes the world is too corrupt to change, recalling the tragic memory of his wife being killed. Conrad traps Asta inside a magical prison made of doors, making one final attempt to persuade him. He offers Asta the title of Wizard King in the new world he's creating. But Asta rejects the offer, saying that becoming Wizard King should be something earned through one's own efforts, not handed out. Asta powers up, breaks free from the trap, and lands a solid hit on Conrad. Asta rushes toward the Imperial sword, but more magical doors appear and knock him back. Realizing he can't change Asta's mind, Conrad stops holding back. He absorbs all the magic around him and takes on a more powerful form. The two clash fiercely, but Conrad proves to be much stronger. He strikes Asta with lightning and eventually stabs him, leaving him drained and injured. Conrad mocks the Wizard Kings as powerless and says they can't bring about real change. But Asta remembers Julius, who sacrificed himself to protect others, and refuses to quit. He awakens his inner demon power, growing a second wing. Asta accuses Conrad of betraying those who believed in him, declaring that a true Wizard King should inspire and protect the people. Conrad insists the system is too corrupt and must be destroyed to make a better world, but Asta believes the people are already doing their best to improve it together. They clash again, and when Asta tries to reach the Imperial sword, Conrad stops him, explaining he once tried to change things as Wizard King, but was betrayed. Still, Asta refuses to give in. He believes in a future where everyone can live happily together. He disarms Conrad and goes to finish the fight, but Conrad's grimoire blocks the attack. Meanwhile, this gives Noelle enough time to regain her magic. She transforms into her Valkyrie armor and confronts Edward's ice monster. Adlai supports her with his mirror magic, creating multiple copies of her to overwhelm the monster. Noelle recalls her painful childhood but clings to the bonds she has now, fighting to protect her place and her friends. Together, the squad defeats Edward's monster. Noelle lands the final blow and offers Edward a chance to start over. Elsewhere, Jester creates a massive spiral structure and launches powerful energy blasts at Yuno and the other captains. Yuno charges in to block the attack, and Yami teams up with the other captains, using their combined power to slice through the structure and hit Jester. A huge explosion follows, but Jester survives. Yuno attacks again and smashes him into the barrier. Still refusing to lose, Jester drops his own barrier and absorbs all remaining energy for himself. Back with Asta, he reflects on how many times he's nearly died. He refuses to live in a world without them. Conrad fires a powerful blast at him, but Asta endures it and slices through both Conrad and the Imperial sword. The sword is neutralized, and the destruction across the kingdom stops. The revived Wizard Kings begin to fade away. Princessia wishes she could have finished her fight with Mereoleona. Just when Asta thinks it's over, Conrad uses his final spell, one that consumes his own life. A massive gate opens in the sky, and a giant meteor begins falling, threatening to obliterate the kingdom. Asta's transformation fades, but his spirit doesn't. Yami and Julius arrive. Julius gives Asta the Imperial sword, and portals begin to open across the kingdom. Magic Knights everywhere send their power to Asta. Empowered by their support, Asta gains a brand new form, pushing beyond his limits. He charges at the meteor, slicing into it with the Imperial sword. Conrad tries to stop him, pushing back fiercely. Asta questions why Conrad wants to destroy everything so badly. Conrad says it's for the sake of the oppressed, but when his locket opens, he sees the image of his late wife and hesitates, lost in the memory. Asta takes advantage of the moment, vowing that he will change things once he becomes Wizard King. With one final strike, he shatters the meteor and delivers the finishing blow to Conrad. In his final moments, Conrad realizes he's been defeated, but instead of anger, he feels peace. Looking at Asta, he sees someone who might be able to create the better world he once dreamed of. He offers his support to Asta's dream and tells him never to give up.